to Lifting the Soul Ministries podcast. We're here today from Everett, Washington. My friend Luke here and I are hanging out in the hotel together. We just spent the weekend at a business conference, and I asked him very last minute if he'd be willing to join us. And so I've known Luke now for coming up on 2 years, and I met him in Miami down at a GrowthCon conference with the 10X community through Grant Cardone. And he lives in a suburb just outside of Chicago, Illinois. He's a comedian and also substitute teacher. He likes to rap.
I like to sing.
Yeah.
Work in a health food shop. Work with the elementary schools time to time.
So I'd like to welcome you, Luke. And how about you do share a little bit more about yourself and your journey and how we met and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I felt very called to go down to Miami for the 10X Growth Conference. And Jason, you were one of the first people I met at the Growth Conference. I think we pretty quickly started connecting about men and men's work and just that healing journey. I went on a journey around that a few years ago, kind of opened up for me attending men's circles, making friends in that community, and feeling a calling to work with children again, especially with boys, as I met a friend who had a young son that very much opened my heart up and reminded me there was a lot of anger at women at that time, and I thought, this is the antidote. Children and little boys, like just being a good man and a good steward for children felt like one of the most important things. And meeting other people that see the pathway to holistic freedom, maybe financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and all the other things, that would be the 10X community might be the place to find people, at least financially. So I met this guy, and then we connected. Been connecting since.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, Luke. And Jason has been able to join us here. He got on a little bit late. He was having some technical difficulties, and so he hasn't actually had a chance to meet Luke yet. So Luke, this is Jason. He's a business partner, as I shared with you before. We met through another community, and I kind of threw this on him last minute that I'd invite you on as a guest for us today. So we're just kind of ad-libbing it today, and as you shared, you wanted to get into working or helping out young children, especially. We live in a culture today where we're seeing stuff happen at all sorts of different levels, and especially in our education system, some things that are very controversial that are being taught to children today. And having strong, solid men to come alongside these young people to to represent what a strong man looks like, a man of character, a man of integrity, to open your heart up to them and just pour into their lives. It's a very noble thing to do. So so Jason, do you have any questions for Luke?
Tell me more about how you came to. I came in late, so maybe this is actually already talked about. You talk about how you wanted to work with young boys, and I was wondering what age range you were talking about. Like what do you see as the prime age range of young men that you'd like to work with?
Well, I don't really have a preference, but as far as the schooling system, they tend to not fair for me and anyone older than elementary age tend to get fired from those places because there's a level of kinship and friendship that I'm looking to create. Not like I'm the adult and you're the child. I don't care about that. I see that a lot, and it makes me sick. It makes me angry. that they talk to them in a certain way, and they're like, you have to go do this and you can't do that or you're going to get in trouble. For me, I'm looking to be everybody's friend. And I think the old, like maybe teenagers can be a bit more closed off. They've been hurt more by adults. And the children, there's a level of innocence that's still there. They don't mind running up, giving me a big hug. I love you, Mr. Luke, things like that, which is really nice and really fun. And, but then there's certain, I try to speak truths to them that they probably wouldn't want me to be speaking to them. And if they're a certain age, they may not be able to quite get it. So, yeah, I'm open to any age, really.
So you're looking to create more of like a mentorship kind of relationship between you and them?
I suppose. I mean, their influences are their parents, and then whatever teachers are, teaching them. Those they're influencing them. So as far as I'd like to be safe for them if they need to, express some emotion or if they want to share something and know that I'm not going to go tattle on them.
Yeah.
But there's only so much that can be done in a public school with so many children and not that much time and not that much ability to be with one of them at a time. It's kind of like a umbrella type of scenario, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the most important things about being in a school system like that is just to be that true authentic self that creates that safe space for children. And they need that. I mean, because they go through all sorts of stuff, whether it be at home or in the public system, right? That can have a lot of, like I said earlier, controversial influences on them in regards to things that are going on in the world today and stuff like that. And sometimes, yeah, a message that you have, right, goes against what the system wants and stuff like that. And sometimes there could be more pushback in regards to that than it is really how you're connecting with the kids and stuff like that. And that's kind of more what they're probably scared of. So when you are working with these young people and stuff like that, what are some of the things that you are seeing at that young age that might be something that you can speak into that will help them as they say get up into those more young adulthood and stuff like that? Because I mean, when we're talking about building a future for strong men and stuff like that, I mean, it really starts at a young age. And so with you working at that level with young kids and youth and stuff like that, what are some of the things that you're seeing that with the work that you're doing that would really help kind of bridge that gap to lead them into being a healthy man?
I had an experience with a little boy. Somebody threw his football over the fence, and he's like, "I can go jump over it and just go get it." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then the other teachers were like, "Yeah, but that's someone's yard, and we could get in trouble and all this blah blah blah." And it was very upsetting to him for the whole couple hours that we were together. And then at one point he said something like, "You're the only one that likes me here." And it's like teenage girls like in high school that are working there, and like one or two older women, maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And I'm like, man, it's upsetting to hear that you think that they don't like you. I don't think it's that they don't like you. Perhaps there's too many of us here and they don't quite know how to, I don't know, just be a friend to you. And looking back on my own experience at that age in that school system, felt the same way, because there's a lot of women that work there, a lot of young women, or a lot of frustrated older women or whatever, and it's more of they're an employee that has to make money to survive on the planet. It's not, and they're overwhelmed by the amount of energy that children have, and to the level, if it's 10 to 20 to 30 kids that is like you have to use emotional violence to make them be quiet. And that's pretty much the main tactic that I see. And that's obviously not helpful for any children, but especially boys. If their relationship to women is they're going to yell at me and they don't like me, they're going to, they're mean to me. But I'm kind of thinking, I might have said something like, it's not that they don't like you, but like, don't take it personal. Like if I were that age, and I used to think the same way, I used to stew in my head about they don't like me, they're mean to me, I want to get revenge somehow, and that was highly toxic. And if I had somebody to speak to about these things, I think it just set the stage for a healthier relationship with myself, with women, and with everybody.
So one thing to comment is that emotional violence is child abuse. So utilizing that with children should be that should be shut down quick. That should be the first. You don't do that to a child because that's child abuse. Legally, that is considered child abuse. Anything that is used in a way that is weaponized to subvert or to control another person against their will is abuse. And emotional violence, it fits that curriculum correctly. In fact, courts have ruled that emotional violence is abuse. And to do that on a child, especially for a civil servant, because teachers are civil servants, they serve their community through the schools. For them to be able to do that and to believe it's complicit and that it's acceptable to do that to a child is absolutely repugnant.
Yeah, I agree. And I see it all the time. And it's like, shoot, man, what? Because I'm only there once a week. I'm there Wednesday afternoons for the after school program. And I've seen it as a substitute every so often. And, part of me wants to rampage against that. But it's like, man, what could I do to that other than like if a woman is on a rampage of her own, yelling at everyone to shut up, best I can do is damage control and go check up on the children afterwards. And just like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Just pat them on the back and maybe see if to like kind of shift the energy of the conversation. Because I'm not really interested in making anybody be quiet, any children be quiet. When the teachers are like, all right, everybody be quiet, at the end of the day, when I get into my job now there, I'm just like talking to all of them and waving at them and goofing around with them. And luckily they're not like, but I notice sometimes though, when they do, if I am causing a problem, they don't come to me. They tell the children to shut up again. And then I'm like, shoot. So,
right.
I don't like that.
So this is a dance between control and what's what I'm looking for? Direction. So when I was in college, I was an RA, and I also did this when I was in the military. I quickly understood that leadership is the only way that you can correctly direct someone, as long as the leadership is well applied, and leadership has nothing to do with control. And so when I was working in that field, especially with there was this Halloween party that we did. There was a group of kids that were there, and of course there were a lot of female chaperones who had no idea what the hell to do. And it's because they have not been taught how to lead well. Because leadership, and I'm going to get some pushback on this. I know leadership is the masculine domain primarily. The our expression of leadership, expressive leadership, is masculine leadership. And oftentimes this is the leadership that directs and creates opportunities. But when used incorrectly, it is a bid for control, which hardly ever works. So when someone's saying shut up or listen to me or be quiet or stop fooling around, whatever, this is a bid for control. One thing that that I've found is when taught correctly, kids want to listen to adults. And one thing that I've learned as a way of, instead of saying shut up or anything like that, is in a calm voice, for those that can actually hear you, if you can hear the sound of my voice, clap once. And then you just keep on repeating that. The kids who are around you are going to clap immediately. As you say it again, people notice that was in their vicinity, notice a clap. You say it again, they clap, and so others clap. Eventually, it creates a cascading effect where everyone is listening and clapping, and no one is talking. So what you've done is you've given them the direction of wanting to listen to you rather than saying shut up. Kids aren't going to shut up because they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be balls of chaotic energy because that's how they learn. They learn their world through dynamic ways. However, as adults, it is our job to lead them well. And to lead them in a way through example and through action that teaches them proper ways of being able to interact with themselves, with each other, and with society. And by being able, I do like your approach of wanting to be someone that's approachable. It's also important to make sure that they understand that while you are approachable, you are someone that when they listen to, good things happen. And when they see you with that kind of respect of an authority figure, that you are someone they can grant authority to be led, because you are demonstrating the responsibility of your station that makes it comfortable with them to want to listen to you and be guided by you.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah. And yeah, you're exactly right there, Jason. Like kids are literally balls of energy. And I mean, I think about I'll use my brother as an example. I'm sure he'll be fine with this. But for years, the teachers in his class were like couldn't necessarily control him. He was always fidgeting, he was standing up, he was being somewhat disruptive in the class, all that kind of stuff. And they always were kind of like thinking him as a problem child. The truth was he couldn't see very well, and all he needed was a pair of glasses. And so once they figured out that he needed some glasses, they were able to sit him up at the front of the class, and he was able to pay attention. But also too, he's also a very intelligent person, and was like miles ahead of everybody else intellectually in the sense of what was being taught in the class. And so it was very boring for him in the class too. And so that's one of the challenges that we have in the school system is it's really geared towards one type of person, right? And they just kind of try to fit everybody into this one box. And it's really that's not an ideal environment for kids to thrive in regards to their chaotic energy, as you said. And so to be able to come into that environment and be a leader and to recognize that kind of dynamic, and do your best to reach out to the kids on an individual level. It's not always easy, but that's something that's very important and needed to be done.
It's a leadership problem, plain and simple. It comes down to a leadership problem, because anytime that you say that this is the dynamic that we're going to have, what you're saying is I need to control my environment to fit this mold. And anything that doesn't fit this mold is outside. It's basically wrong. Who are we to say what is right or wrong? That is not leadership. That is control. Control does not equal leadership, and vice versa. What you need something that actually leads a group of people to an outcome, rather than saying this is how you are going to do things. It's like the whole adage of you can tell me what to do, you can tell me how to do it, but if you want to do both, you might as well do it yourself.
I like that. Yeah. So moving forward from that, Luke, like with all this work that you're doing with kids and stuff like that, how has that helped you and on your journey, on your growth journey as a man, and the world that because I've known you for a couple of years now, and I know you've gone through a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, and on your journey, and and if we're moving forward into that, how has that impacted your life, working with these kids, and how has that helped you in your personal growth story?
Yeah, well, going back into these public school environments, last year was my first year, and I was in my hometown of Palatine, Illinois. So I ended up going to my old elementary school a couple times, which brought up a lot of thoughts and feelings and like physical sensations of familiarity, which is pretty cool. I saw my art teacher, Mr. Z, who was one of the few teachers I really that I enjoyed. But observing children in these schools, this has been really eye-opening for me. This is why there's been this element of rebellion or upset about society. And for a while, I thought there's no way I could be in these type of public school environments because there was such a level of anger at how I was treated or not allowed to express myself. As a comedian, like in school, like I always wanted to laugh and make my friends laugh. And there were plenty of times where I got the whip cracked on me for making somebody laugh or laughing with my buddies in class. And then that event as a child is highly traumatizing. I was just shut down, feel bad, feel wrong, and like, man, this is like a prison. This is a hell realm. It's our right to express ourselves and to laugh and play. That's, like you said, that's how we learn. All animals, all baby animals, they all play with each other and fighting each other, go on wrestling around. So seeing how the children are treated now as an adult, feels good to have an opportunity to check in on them afterwards, see how they are, if they can bounce back from that quickly, or if it hits them harder, and kind of give them some kind words, and just understand myself, see myself in them, and how maybe me being in those scenarios, how that allowed me to become the man that I am, or how things may have happened there, created stories in my head that I told about myself, of my character based off those interactions, what I should have done differently or not. And so I think there's a lot of good work happening in my heart and soul being in these environments.
What is it you want to achieve through this work? What is your ultimate goal with this? What do you want to create?
Yeah, I would like to plant seeds of revolution in their hearts. Ultimately, I went on one rant to a fourth grade classroom right before the end of the school year, and then they were going to go to the middle school the year after. And Jason, you actually kind of look like one of the boys in the class, and he got what I was saying. He's like, oh, so like they're basically just trying to control us. And I was like, yeah, that's what I see. And I'm like, a couple other boys sprinkled in that too. And I kind of wanted them to get as best as I could communicate. It's hard to really communicate with that many people, and that they might get what I'm saying with their age range and whatever, their brain development. But like, you have a right to express yourself. And if people are telling you not to, that's really not okay. And like, you have that right. So just like, hopefully know that I want them to believe that they have autonomy and sovereignty, and like, if people make them feel bad for being themselves, that's not okay. So I don't know. Yeah, best that maybe 20, 30 years down the line, maybe less, that they'll remember me as I remembered certain teachers that made me feel okay, but that didn't make me feel wrong. Or like, people that told me like, you're funny, Luke, you're funny, you're a funny kid. And I followed that. I might not have followed that if I didn't hear that. So little words of encouragement that could just sit and nestle in their mind and heart, that may survive the berating that other people might give them, or that they might get from social media or other things like that.
Okay, so asked another way, is there an opportunity that you want to create in this, Is there something that you want to build that you can actually invite kids and parents, because really the gatekeepers of children are the parents. And by understanding how, are you looking for a way of being able to reach them so that you can have the kind of impact that you're talking about on them?
I think like working with children is not my main passion.
Okay.
I mean, I would say it's a definite passion of mine to be around children, but not working in the public school system or anything like that. Like it's something I'm doing for now for work. I think a big goal of mine is to be able to be financially free enough to where I can express creatively to any public school I want, or any place where there's children, to share my music and tell jokes and stories that, just kind of demonstrating a freedom and an authenticity that is not allowed in a classroom setting, but is a higher form of expression that they're not taught. They're basically taught the opposite, to stifle themselves, but just kind of show like there are adults out here that can show a level of love and care and fun and humor that is inspiring, and could just open up their eyes to like, oh wow, there's a whole new way to be that I wasn't aware of, that maybe I could do something like that or something different.
So if I'm hearing correctly, what you're saying is that you don't necessarily want to be working in the public school system, but you want to use your talents through your comedy, through your musical gifts, through stuff like that, where you're impacting kids from a more holistic viewpoint outside of the school system, but doing it through your talented, like your artistic gifts.
Yeah. And at least show them there are adults that will be friendly and that we're committed. I'm committed to make them laugh as much as I can and make them feel safe, and nurture whatever I see in them that feels fun or expressive or creative. So
Well, it sounds like something that would really be of benefit, and I say this to every man that I work with, is really demonstrating your capacity to lead. And through that demonstration, people gravitate towards leaders, those who demonstrate proper leadership. They lead through their service, and really, leadership for masculine leadership is leading through service, and being able to demonstrate that in a purposeful way. And I think that the more that you were to demonstrate that in your comedy, in everything else that you do, even just in life in general, when you lead consistently through all areas of your life, all areas of your life improve, because the quality of people, one, improve around you, and two, people notice what you are doing and want to know either your secret or how to also do the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, so moving forward, like our ideal situation is doing this kind of stuff, right? Like, how do you see yourself getting there?
Like performing in schools and stuff, you mean?
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
What do you kind of have like a vision for that?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing, I see in a couple years, holistic freedom of finances and ability to travel and live where I want. I used to do improv in nursing homes, improv comedy. I would call up the nursing homes, talk to the activity director, and then, okay, well, this is what we can do. We'll come in, call my friends, and we'd all go in and perform. So perhaps figure out a way to call up these public schools and say, hey, like, this is what I do. I sing songs, and I'd be happy to come perform. Like if it's in Palatine, where I'm from, I could just say this, like my hometown. It's kind of a dream of mine to like perform in my old school. It's child friendly. And yeah, I guess also some of my experiences in schools have been like a one and done of like, you subbed for us, we didn't like it, see ya, bye.
Yeah.
And if it has to come to that, then it's like, all right, if I want to go in there, I'm going to say as much as I feel is important to say that the institution would be like, this isn't work. This doesn't fit into the box that we want their minds to be in. Then just kind of blow the roof off the place. And, but not in a way it's just in a way that's challenging the system that I think is important for humans to do, especially with these kind of rape slave systems of compulsory schooling. If you look at the research of the men that created these schooling systems from like the Prussian Empire, or whatever it was exactly, it's like their intention is to make obedient, weak-minded people. And if we're, I don't know, 100 years from that, it's just kind of gotten to this place. But ultimately, yeah, I have a lot of songs in the bank of, it's not really even words. I wouldn't even have to say anything. So I think I could get away with it because I'm not really even speaking coherent words. It's more of the energy. It's in my heart. It's like belting out high notes to instrumentals that it's just very emotional. And what's going on in my mind and heart is very like, I'm kind of speaking to God. I'm speaking to the hearts of all the children. And I think just spelling in a school like that, in a controlled way of like, this is what it is, because this is the performance. I think just doing that for children, hopefully will do something of like, we're allowed to, express that energy.
So a couple things come to mind as you're talking. I think that by having this as a comedy-centric event that you can do with children, it's easy to get that message across, because all you want to do is create the message that really all you have to do is have the message of, we're all connected, we all deserve respect, and we can all respect each other. Unity is much better than divisiveness. And so really that is the underpinning of any message that you would give with any song, any comedy skit, anything else, and making it child friendly so that they want to laugh, so they feel that they can connect with it. They feel that they can be goofy along with the information, and that they can play along with what you're doing. I think that that's a really important piece to have. And I think it would not be a hard sell, especially if you're able to market it correctly to the school boards and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Kids are having a hard time. I want to be able to bring some joy and laughter into their life, and this is kind of how I plan on doing it. School boards usually have a fund for this kind of thing. So if they see it as being something that they can get behind, that's not going to be outwardly contravening of what they have in schools, it really shouldn't be that much of a problem. All that you have to do is frame it the right way. And I think there's definitely a positive way to do that.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is really great about this conversation is realizing, as you and I have talked in the past, Jason, a lot of things that we as men go through in our adult years stem from things that have happened in our childhood. And you've touched on that today, Luke, with how, some of the things that you experienced in your experience in the school system as kind of had effects on you as you grew up into a man that you've now had to overcome and work through in your life and stuff like that. And so your heart to work with children, to be able to because it really, I mean, like that's where a lot of our pains start from as men, is from our childhood, and it's learning how to work through that. And so with your heart to wanting to get down to that level and reach in there and support kids in that way is truly I believe a noble cause. And so like I'm like from where you are now, like with your growth journey and stuff like that, what are some of the things has that taught you as like working with these kids and on your own personal growth journey? What has it taught you, and how has that affected your growth journey to where you are now? Like, how has that fully opened you up to some of the changes that you've had to make, like both emotionally, spiritually, all those kinds of things?
I think as far as boys growing up in a school system, I think I only had one male teacher leading the class from kindergarten to 8th grade. So, and that's intentional from what I've learned. The dynamic that gets created of a female figure in charge of 20 to 30 kids, half boys, half girls. They're the authority figure if they're in a stressed out scenario. Their heart's not in the right place. They got their own problems going on at home. As I don't know, 20, 30, 40-year-old woman, it's like I believe I've learned or read that it creates this dynamic of they're the authority figure, and then this relationship to women, to boys that like girls. There's like a lot of weak men out here that are subservient to women, but it's really like we're talking a lot about leadership here. Of there's not opportunities for boys to be in a leadership role, then they're just kind of sitting in their own filth of like not being able to serve. Like boys and men are built to serve. So I think if there's opportunities that we can create to, like, for boys to be in a leadership role with their hearts in the right place, then that's a healthy, positive thing. So you're asking me, for me, my own journey. Yeah, like just my own relationship, my own experiences with girls, with women growing up, was basically this kind of stuff going on in the background in my mind, like something's not right here. And then being introduced to pornography as, okay, girls, women are these body parts that I want to please myself with and feel good in my body, because there's so much of not feeling good in my heart and mind. And then just a lot of pretty devastating heartbreaks. Or for me, early on, I was just way too shy. I'm not going to talk to anybody, not going to ask anybody to any dance or let them know I like them, using porn in the background. And then once there was some physical activity with another human, it was just like there was no idea of how to make this last, how to do this properly, how to honor this. So kind of trial by error for many years for many of us boys and men. I think there's just a lot of anger from men, and I think for me, I was seeking out a lot of mentorship and guidance from other places, finding good men that had achieved some levels of success and kind of working with them for times until it worked and then move on. I think if we can like find good ways for boys to express themselves and like to speak, because also there were times in my life, in specific, there was a period of my life where there was like a hyper fixation on, I don't know, I would notice when people would like do things, like which hand they used it with. It was their right hand or their left hand. And I had this whole like philosophy in my mind about, can they do it with, they should do it with this hand for this thing or that hand. And like, if people were overusing their right hand, that I would judge them for it. And I had no idea how to like share this with anyone, but it would like drive me insane. It was like a torturous thing for me for years. And I didn't know how to speak to anybody about it, but just I feel once I learned I can like share things that I'm dealing with people in a healthy way, then it's just like it kind of lifts this burden. So I don't know if this answered your question exactly, but that's what I guess.
So I totally understand where you're coming from, that men have been largely abandoned when it comes to um, nurturing, and it's really sad to see. A lot of it is because, well, we can get into some of the more crazy theories, but suffice it to say, the I don't know if the school system itself is to blame. The the way the schools are set up, women naturally gravitate towards anything that has to do with nurturing or with any kind of soft skill for as a profession, whether it be nursing, teachers, any kind of health care, health or health or well-being services, if I could talk. Anything that involves like being able to connect with people. Women always have been gravitated more towards that, and studies have shown overwhelmingly that this is the case. And it's not necessarily that this is wrong or bad. On the contrary, this shows the way that femininity and masculinity express themselves naturally, which is just how it is. It's as natural as water being wet. And so it's more of an idea of what is the details that are being put into the curriculum of these institutions. It's not the institutions that are bad. It is any kind of agenda that is put in that countermands the development of young children into healthy young adults, both boys and girls, and really demonstrating how they can play nobly their part with the tools they have, rather than telling them either you weren't born in the right body, or the way that you are isn't the way that you're supposed to be, or you're supposed to be able to do things, or you don't need a man, or you're less than, or whatever it might be. Anything that goes against the natural order of humanity is what's wrong with society, because it erodes the natural fabric that has created the institution known as humanity for over 300,000 years. And these are instincts that are very hard to break. Actually, they're impossible to break, because they're rooted in the one thing that all mammals strive for, which is survival. And these things are based on survival tactics. And when you try to jeopardize that, you have a limited success until something much bigger than the eroding force comes in to correct the record. And something that you can definitely offer through your medium, through the ways in which you reach people, is to correct that record, and doing it in a way that is just under the radar. So the message goes in, but it doesn't get flagged.
Yeah. No, this is great. And we're coming close to the end of the hour here, or 45 minutes, or whatever we are usually have this conversation for. And I just really appreciate you being here, Luke, with us today and sharing your story, your heart, the things that you're working with. If you had one last message to share with the people that will be listening to this today, what would that be?
Hoofty hoof, which that means whatever you want. And that's what I sing to the people. That's what I sing to myself in the shower. I think, yeah, have fun, and know that it's your right to have fun. And all the men out here, we were all little boys once. We all still are. It's my philosophy is we're all born babies. We're all little boys that love to play and be loving. And I think as men, it's our right and perhaps our duty to defend the right to play, to be silly, to make jokes, and to defend the right for children to play and to express themselves, and we can create safe places for them to do that and lead them and make sure that they don't harm themselves or others. Otherwise, let them go be a ball of energy. So, yeah. I think hoofty hoof. That's what that means to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for everybody for listening to us. And where could I know you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So what is your YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can look up Luke Mungo, but you might find something else. So if you want to be specific to find me, look up Luke Mungo Songs and Jokes. That's my YouTube playlist it's a growing playlist of me, my performances, songs, some of me doing stand-up comedy. And my Instagram is Luke_Mungo. And those are good places to check me out. I'm happy to connect with people too if you want to send me a DM on there.
How do you spell your last name?
Mungo. So that's my Sasquatch name that I go by, and Mungo to me means mushroom heart. So the intention is like being a super connector through my heart, spreading the mycelium that connects the entire planet with that being with love. And that's the Sasquatch message to humanity from a book I read of the Sasquatch said human being superpower is their heart. So just remember that.
So have you ever seen the movie Blazing Saddles?
I have. I'm not Mongo, it's Mungo. I'm far more intelligent than that guy.
No, it's just there's one scene particular in that movie where they're asking him a question after they've captured him, and like I was like, what do you think that is? Like, don't know. Mongo just pawn in Game of Life, and I think that was probably one of the most profound parts of the movie. I actually I've seen the movie many times. Love that movie. Love that entire type of comedy. So yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. That's why I referenced it. That's why I brought it up.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again, Luke, for being here. And for those of you who are tuning in, you can check us out at liftingthesoulministries.com. You can find this podcast obviously on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. And yeah, we're more than happy to reach out or to have you guys connect to us. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others that need to hear this message. So until next time, much love.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys. Nice to meet you, Jason, and
Likewise.
much love to you all out there.